Hey everybody, welcome to Fire Talk, where we give you the latest news updates on Southeastern University athletics. I'm Dr. Ken Ingle, president of Southeastern University, and joining me as always, our incredible athletic director, Drew Watson. How you been? I was not here last week.
No, you were not here last week, and
it went better, didn't it?
I wouldn't say that. Donnie, this is Donnie's. Donnie loves this spotlight here. But, I think, to be honest, I was at the dentist this morning.
Oh.
And the dentist.
Nobody likes dentist.
Yeah, nobody. But here's two things about the dentist. Number one, they're going to do a little work, right? So they say, we're going to just numb you up here. So by the time they're done, later, 6 hours later, you have a runny nose and it runs down to your neck till you feel it.
I know.
The other thing is like they treat your cheek like it's you're tanning leather. It's like, no, it's like they're trying to pull you out of the chair.
I know.
No, I don't think Allie has that experience.
It is the worst experience of all.
But the laughing gas.
Oh yeah, if they provide that, we'd go all the time, wouldn't we? It would be great. But that's I've not had a dentist do that for a while, so it's just got to go do the routine, whatever you need to do. But want to make sure our teeth are good and healthy, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Especially for those smiles.
It's important for this podcast as well.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about volleyball, because the volleyball team is just killing it this season so far, dominating
3-year captain, Allie Postlethwaite. I said it right.
You got it right. Yeah. That's you got a great name.
How you doing, Allie?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of
you
course.
are our first athlete on Fire Talk this season.
Yeah. I know. I'm honored to be here.
Great to have you
Glad you're here.
Hey, we would love for our listeners to get to know you a little bit. So where are you from? What are you studying right now? And tell us a little bit about your life.
Yeah, so I'm from Land Lakes, Florida, so I live about an hour, 20 minutes away, so not bad at all. I'm studying nursing right now, so it's been a little tricky, but it's been really rewarding at the same time.
Sure.
And
that's pretty heavy to do both an athletic program and a tedious program in nursing. But so hands off for tackling both and doing them well.
Yeah.
So
a lot of coordination is needed. A lot of great communication.
How do you balance that? I mean, how do you balance that?
So Coach actually respects that I am in the nursing program, and she understands the work that I have to put in to be able to do both and accomplish both well. So she works with me with the weights and lifts that we have. Because I have to go to open lab too after practices, so she allows me to go to open lab and then I make up my weights on my own time. And then on bus rides, I just have to really focus on getting my work done. And my teammates have been really supportive and helpful with not distracting me, and it's just been a good environment to help me get things done.
Well, it's great that you can participate in both, because I know a lot of universities, the nursing faculty says, well, sorry, if you want nursing, you can't play sports.
Yeah, a lot of schools actually denied me when I was in my recruiting process because I told them that I was nursing, and they were like, bummer, we can't take a nursing student. So.
Well, I'm glad they did deny you, because you're here. You ended up here.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Really happy that you're here.
Culture is very important to us here at Southeastern. Talk to us about how you chose this program and what was the process like going through that.
Yeah, so I actually met Coach Audrey when I was 14 years old, which is crazy to me. It makes it a lot more emotional, going through everything with her.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was the first coach that actually gave me an offer. And I loved the school. I loved visiting. I loved the environment, meeting Coach Audrey and the girls that were here during that year. I actually knew 2 of them at the time because I played club with a lot of people from the same area. So it was nice to be familiar with those people too. And then I was open to other schools because I just wanted to see what was out there. But ultimately, the communication I had with Coach Audrey and the personalities and all of the relationships that I established already with Southeastern over the years, it just led me to coming back and committing. And I also met with the nursing director here at the time, and I toured the sim lab and the classrooms, and I just felt like it was a good fit. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah, a lot of people in the recruiting process, I don't think they focus sometimes on the things that they should. Mm-hmm. The fact that you've got to want the degree that you're getting, not just to play volleyball.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of people don't focus on that, and they end up at a school that they're like, oh, I'm playing volleyball, but I don't like my degree, and they end up leaving. So kudos to you for looking into that. Well, during your 3 years here at SU, you've been very successful. As I said, 6-time setter of the week, first team all conference. As well as the region, you hit 1,000 assists in your freshman season alone. What do you think the key has been to your success?
Honestly, just having good relationships with my teammates, because for me being a setter, my connection with my hitters is really important, and my passers. Like,
Yeah.
a lot of my success comes from me having connections with my teammates, and then we just kind of know how each of us functions, and I know what they need, they know what I need, they know how we need to work to be able to do well. So it's been really nice.
You're coming up on another milestone, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I might be getting 2,000 tonight.
Okay,
Most likely.
2,000 tonight in the home match.
What
So
happens when stop and have a big ceremony? What do we do?
There's some hoopla planned.
Okay.
You know, so
Stop, take pictures, keep playing.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
That's great.
Then continue on. Yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
And you've been a 3-year team captain, right?
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about what's important in terms of, as a captain, making sure that you set a good example for your team.
Yeah, so especially with academics, I feel like that's kind of the way that I started out. Showing discipline is like through school and through volleyball, I'm able to show that I am a very disciplined student athlete. And you have to kind of like lead by example. That's my big thing. Like, I have to do my job before I can tell others how to do their job. So I just need to make sure that my head's on right before I can lead others.
Yeah, so. And great word choice, discipline, man. I get excited when I hear that word, discipline, because that's what life's all about. You got to be disciplined.
Yeah,
well, when I
true.
coached it, I always found that freshmen would freak out about the syllabus, about what was required. And then by the time, they become seniors, they're telling freshmen, hey, calm down. It'll be okay. But you've got to have discipline in order to set up those habits that are going to help you be successful.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, let's talk a little bit about volleyball, a little bit about last week. You guys had 2 more big conference wins, 3 over Florida Memorial, 3-1 over Ave Maria. Mm-hmm. What did the team do well in those matches?
So what was really helpful for those matches was what happened prior to the matches was Coach Audrey's practice plans have been really helpful this season, I think. She's had great practice plans the whole entire time that I've been here, but recently this season she's really focused on focusing in on one team before we play them. Yeah. And really studying what we have to do in order to beat that team for that game, because every team's different. So I think we really were able to focus on what Coach Audrey taught us in the practices before we played them. And then we implemented what she told us to practice in those games. So we were able to find their weaknesses and utilize it. So
yeah, and that's a kudos to you guys, because a lot of teams will get that scout. Yeah. But they're not. They either don't have the focus to actually implement that game plan, or they just don't care. You know? And so you're 15-3, so it's paying off. That's great. Yeah.
And you had a big road win last night against Trinity College, and as a result of that win, the team now has 50 wins in 3 years that you've been here at SCU. Talk to us about that match and what that meant to you and to the team.
Yeah, so as a team, as a program here, we know that our program is pretty good, pretty competitive. Trinity's program, it was not as competitive, has not really been the past couple years that we played them, so we knew that going in. But I think our mentality was staying disciplined and just making sure that we do our job and we don't kind of play down to what other programs play like. So I'm just proud of us for staying strong and just staying to playing how we normally play and not messing around or not taking it seriously.
And that's something that, I coached 15 years, and I used to tell the team, let's be a thermostat, not a thermometer.
Yes, that's good.
And a lot of times, it's very difficult when you're rolling and you head into a gym and you're like, this is not going to be a hard match. Mm-hmm. It's hard to keep that focus. So that's really great that you guys are able to do that, and it's good. It's a good sign for the future as well. Yeah. Now tonight's another conference matchup, College of Coastal Georgia. Mm-hmm. They were our first conference matchup up in Brunswick. Yep. We ended up beating them 3-1 after dropping the first set. Yeah. What do you look forward to tonight?
So obviously they were our first game for the first game of the season, and going into that first game, we had a different lineup than we do now. I think we were still trying to figure out what lineups to do, who connected with who better. So I think going into tonight, it'll just be more exciting to see how we have improved from the first game, to see how our lineups have matched up well against how it was in the beginning. I think we'll do a good job. We've been practicing really well in order to prepare for them. So I think having our new connections established and all of that will work out really well.
That's good.
That's great. And as much as we love talking about sports, there's so much more than just sports in our life. So talk to us a little bit about how God has worked in your life during your time here at SCU.
Yeah, so I was already a Catholic prior to coming into Southeastern, and I grew up in Catholic schools, so I already had that foundation. But coming to Southeastern, I feel like it's broadened, and I've been more open to it because of the people who I've been around. And Coach Audrey has done a great job of like implementing faith in volleyball as much as she can. And I know a lot of sports like don't actually take that seriously and don't really try to implement it. But I think she's done a great job of implementing it with us. So our team is actually like really, really involved with their faith. And I think that's something that I've never really seen before.
Oh, that's good.
So it's been really nice to have teammates that are also on the same wavelength and page that I am with my faith.
Yeah,
That's good. And it sets you up for successful life as well.
Yeah.
And again, get back to discipline. Discipline, to be consistent in your faith, it takes discipline.
Yeah.
And so, okay, last question. Looking ahead, what's next after SEU?
So I am a nursing major right now. I will graduate, and then I have to work 2 years, and then I have to apply for CRNA school. So I have to work in an ICU or a trauma unit, and then from there apply with my experience that I had to CRNA, and then go to school for 3 more years. And then after that, hopefully I'll be good.
Well, we do want nurses who know what they're doing.
Exactly, exactly.
So education's part of it. So
we want to make sure they're making A's in their classes too.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We don't want to. Do you ever think about that? Do we have a C grade level doctor or nurse?
No.
What was your GPA in nursing
Yes,
school?
exactly. We don't think about that, but that's
Yeah.
so good. No, I just admire you for your commitment and your discipline in being able to accomplish both, and then to fulfill that kind of calling that you have to go in the healthcare industry. So that's great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Between work and to-do lists, Publix knows your time is valuable. Let them help you regain time in your day by delivering groceries to your door. Make sure you learn more at Publix.com/shop. Always love promoting that great service because it is a very, very significant service to people today.
It is, and they have started to deliver prescriptions as well. They've rolled that out.
That's right. You mentioned that before. That's awesome too. Hey, let's get into Fire football a little bit. They are now undefeated in the Sun Conference play after a win this past weekend. Beat Weber on the road. They won 17-9.
Yeah, season best 352 total yards on offense. Always fun to watch a team maximizing their potential. Now, what I'll say about this game in particular, and Weber. Weber is always, in whatever sport we play him in, you typically have to out-tough him.
Yeah.
I mean, because it's gonna be a grind. And, it's standing there on the sideline on Saturday, I mean, it was a tough game. Yeah. And but I was really proud of our players who just toughed it out. Just decided they're going to win and got it done.
Yeah. When you watch them, you can see there is good visionary alignment, great synergy together. And, of course, that's a testament to Coach Wall, who's really built this team up, and he's really given them a lot of confidence to go out and execute and make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, good coaches lead well, obviously, but they also make adjustments. And I think, and I've said this to a lot of people, I think this is a very, very qualified and diligent, disciplined coaching staff. They have good relationships, and as you know, in a setting where you're trying to make each other better, there's a little bit of this sometimes. Yeah. But they do a good job of working through those moments to make the team better. And I know the guys appreciate the investment that the coaches are making in the team this year.
Yeah, and a lot of great accomplishments this past.
Yeah, so Nate Hayden finished 22 of 34 for 214 yards. Shane McLaughlin had 51 yards receiving on 3 catches. Dominic Larry, 50 yards on 4 catches. Josiah Neos, he had a good game running the ball, 96 yards on 16 carries. And then Daniel Parker added another 37 yards rushing.
Yeah, who's next on the schedule?
Thomas University this Saturday at home, 7 o'clock. Thomas is a first-year program. They were in the Sun Conference until this year for all of their other sports. They went to the Southern States Athletic Conference, but Southern States does not have football, and so they are an associate member in the Sun for football. So looking forward to welcoming them to Lakeland.
Not a good record so far, 0-4.
0-4, they've dropped games a point. Then 2 number 7 teams, Bethel and Kaiser, and then Ave Maria. But, I think what I've seen from the scores that stood out right away is that a lot of first-year programs are getting rolled. I mean, you'll see 60-7, 50-0. Their scores have been pretty competitive. They even hung with Kaiser, for a majority of the first half before Kaiser ended up pulling away. But obviously they're doing something right in their first year, because while the record doesn't reflect it, the scores are not reflective of a typical first-year program.
No, that's so good. Let's talk about women's soccer. They had a big win on Saturday over Ave Maria to add another conference win to their record, taking the game 3-1.
Yeah, Ave Maria, if you remember, we went down there for the first conference game of the year. Right. We won 1-0, but scored 15 seconds left in the game. Yeah. It was a defensive battle, and Ave's tough, but Madeline Davidson had 2 goals for us. Ariadna Lozano added 1 as well.
And that's a big win. I mean, Madeline is just a sophomore, right? So
yeah,
we've got her around for a little.
Just a
little
sophomore, and she already has 7 career goals at SCU. We're gonna see one of her goals here.
Okay.
You've got this team is a very good passing team, and you see this and you see this when they play. They see the field very well. You got a nice. I mean, she just got set up by that little push pass and just hit it home. So, really impressive shot there, and an impressive season for Madeline.
Yeah. Now, what about the SCAD game? That was a top 10 opponent, correct?
Yeah, SCAD is currently undefeated. We did lose that game 3-2, but they had only given up 3 goals the whole season up to the point where we got to Savannah. 2 of those goals were in the first match of the year. So they had only given up 1 since, and we scored 2. Great battle for 2 nationally ranked teams, and we're looking forward to hosting them, coming up here in a few weeks.
Yeah, and speaking of nationally ranked teams, the Fire face off tonight against that university down south.
Yes, the university they wear
St. Thomas.
Maroon and blue down there.
Yep, and that's on the road.
Yeah. St. Thomas is a good program. They have gotten better each year. They played us to a 0-0 draw here at home a few weeks ago.
And that's our only tie, right?
Yes. Yep. So the women are now sitting at 6-3-1, still ranked 13th. Finish out the week. They'll face off again against Warner this Saturday at 1:00.
Okay. Let's move on to men's soccer. The Fire had 2 big wins last week, beating SCAD 4-1 on Thursday, then turning around 2 days later, and they beat Ave Maria. That was 8-0 on Saturday. Big win.
That's like a 40-point win in basketball.
Yeah, that's huge.
8-0. I mean, congratulations to the team. They have had a great season, but I think they're clicking. They're even advancing now at the right time of the year. Yeah. And so Victor Cavalcante scored his 8th goal of the season and is leading the team in goals. We have a clip here from we're going to see Edo with a sweet goal against SCAD.
All right.
So again, the Roberts brothers,
right.
they both their teams pass very well. Watch this shot. This is an amazing.
He's inside the box. That's a good-looking shot. What
so he ends up on his head and scores. I mean, that was a pretty shot from Edo.
That's a great day for the Fire. That moves the team to 7-2-2 on the year so far. What's their week look like coming up?
Big night tonight.
Okay.
We got number 3 St. Thomas coming to town. We played them a few weeks ago and down at their place, and the game was scoreless for a good amount of the match. We gave up a goal, and then with 13 seconds left, we pulled our goalie up because we had a corner kick to try and tie it.
Yep.
And they got the ball, dribbled all the way down, and just as the buzzer sounded, the ball crossed the goal line. Wow. So the game was 2-0, but it was really closer than that. So this Saturday, then they will travel to Warner to play at a 10 a.m. match.
Okay. Let's move to cross country. Heard we had a great weekend in North Carolina.
Yes, John Perez Dunn is on fire. Wow. He broke his own program record in the 8,000 meter by 2 seconds in Friday's Royals Cross Country Challenge, finishing in 25:32. The Fire finished 13th in the race.
Wow, that's a great finish. How'd the women do?
Women finished 21st in the gold division race. Grace Fetter placed 85th in the field with a time of 19:37 for the 5,000 meters. Jillian Blazer was 120th in a time of 20:12.
That's excellent. What's next for the teams?
They get a week off this weekend, then they travel to Knoxville for the NAI Appalachian Challenge next weekend on the 20th. Okay. Now, I don't know if you know this, but on the weeks off, they go over to Circle B and they run in the morning.
Oh, wow.
They run 8 10, 12, 14, 17 miles to stay in shape.
Sure.
And then Paul, Coach Kurtz cooks them breakfast out there at Circle B. So I think the team appreciates it.
They have to probably navigate around the alligators, though, right?
They do.
That's always infested with alligators.
They run right past them, I believe.
Oh, my goodness.
Helps improve the times.
Yeah, I bet. All right. Final conversation in the segment today. Let's talk about bass fishing. This past weekend, the team recorded its first win of the season at the Florida Bass Nation College Open Series.
They did. Kane Weekly and Connor Koch finished first. Pulled in the big bass of the tournament. I mean, you're familiar with this, right? Because you're a big angler.
Oh, yeah, big time.
7.73 pounds was the biggest bass caught in that tournament, and it was caught by these guys.
Okay, now did they get to eat them later?
They don't.
No, they got to throw them back in, right?
They do. The bass is good, but they do have to throw them back in so they can fish later.
All right. Okay, well, good. Well, hey, Drew, that's a wrap for today. Thank you for everyone joining us. As a programming note, we will both be out of town next week, so our next show will be our homecoming edition, which will be on October 25th. As we close, I want to remind you to come out to our home games this week. Again, a huge men's soccer match against St. Thomas tonight at 7 p.m. Volleyball also plays tonight at 7 p.m. And then on Saturday, women's soccer host Warner at 1 p.m. And then we have football, right?
Yeah, football 7 p.m. against Thomas. And make sure you visit SCUfire.com for the latest in fire athletics.
Yeah.
You can find the event calendar there as well as a link to watch all of our home games. Good luck to all of our teams this week.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Go Fire!
Go Fire!